Good evening and welcome to Putnam County Sports Talk. We are your hosts. I'm assistant editor here at the Banner Graphic, Jared Jernigan.
Sports editor Kane Gardner.
And we are bringing you the latest in Putnam County sports. And kind of have it on a special night here this week because we're in the midst of tournament season. We've this guy here has been at girls basketball section the last couple nights, and 2 weeks removed from our last show because of a bit of a winter storm last week that sort of ground everything to a halt. So
yeah, really wasn't going to be happening. So.
No, we were here, but nobody was at school, so there wasn't much to talk about. So, but yeah, you and I, things were back to normal on Saturday, and you and I were both out at some tournaments in spite of the snow.
Yep. You're up at Crawfordsville covering the girls' sectional swimming, and got a team getting out of that from Greencastle.
Yeah, actually, the girls from Greencastle started the day off right, won the first race of the day. In the medley relay, we have the team of Sydney Terry, Emily Wheeler, Melanie Biddles, and Sydney Cassida. They are headed on to the state finals, the preliminaries of which are Friday night at 6 o'clock, and they will actually be swimming in the very first heat of the night. So if you're planning to go to that, don't be late. You will miss it. Yeah, it's kind of a nice experience for them. Sydney Terry and Melanie Biddles are both seniors, so it's kind of a nice way to finish things off. And Wheeler and Castor are actually both freshmen, so it's a
pretty cool
way to
contrast.
Kick things off as well. So like I say, they'll be in action at 6 o'clock on Friday. And then you also were out that day for a wrestling regional down at Mooresville.
Yes, I was.
And if I'm counting right, we have 6 guys on to semi-state at Evansville, and one of them was a regional champion.
Yeah, Cloverdale's Donnie Helterbrand at a 145 weight class. Very impressive. He went against Dalton Clements from Monrovia, and pretty much from the get-go dominated. It was probably one of the best wrestling performances I've seen since I've been covering wrestling. It was pretty dominant. So he looks to be in pretty good shape going into this weekend, being number 1 seed. Also going from Cloverdale is going to be Matt Hall, Sean Shipp, and Jeremy Boldman. And Greencastle is going to have Jesse Vermillion at 215, and North Putnam will have Tyler Rubel at 103. So the only one missing out was South Putt, but they had a couple guys go down early, but they did well as well. They went down, young team. They were able to at least get the regional experience. So that'll benefit them going into next season. And Coach Hendrickson said that they've already been talking about what they want to do in the off season to improve. So can't really ask for too much more than that. So having 6 wrestlers at the semi-state is going to be it's going to be a good thing. So and I expect them all to actually do pretty well, but. I'm kind of anxious to see how Helterbrand fares because he's hitting his stride pretty hard right now. So.
Well, I mean, he's still undefeated on the year, right?
Yes.
I mean, and of the probably thousands of wrestlers in the state, there can't be more than a handful of guys who haven't lost all year.
Yeah. He's still. I mean, as far as I know, and if the records are correct, he is still undefeated, and he's not squeaking by kids. So so it's he's really hitting his stride right now. So.
Well, and he's somebody who's been a good wrestler for a while, so it's good to see him hitting the stride this year that well. So, And then this week we've actually had girls sectional basketball action, and we've already had 3 of our teams in action, and then 2 of them will be in action again on Friday. So, First on Tuesday, you covered North Putnam defeating Cloverdale 40-28 at the Cascade sectional. So, tell us a little bit about that game.
That was probably one of the best first halves I've seen from North Putnam. They held the Clovers to only 1 point, and that point came with 6.8 seconds left before the half on the free throw, obviously. But they just really took control from the get-go. But in the second half, Cloverdale really came out, and for a young team, if I'm not mistaken, they start all sophomores, and they came out and really showed, I think next year they could surprise some people because they've got a lot of speed, they've got good rebounding, they've got 2 quick point, guards that can trade off on the point with Amelia Nally and Paige Gruner. They've got a very good rebounder with Sydney Schramm. great shooter, Bristy Skiles. She struggled in this game, but she'd been sick, so that's going to take a toll. But I think they're going to be very good, and I think that North Putnam showed that they're going to, because they're a young team also. I think they showed that they're going to be pretty good. So, and it actually snapped a 15-game losing streak for the Cougars. So it's a good way to open the sectional.
It's quite a time to snap a losing streak.
Yeah, and they'll go up against Covenant Christian Friday at 6. And I watched a quarter of the Covenant Christian game the other night, and Covenant Christian is a pretty good team. So it'll be a good challenge for the Cougars, but I think that if they continue to kind of play within themselves, I think that they could do all right.
Okay. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
And then we also had, last night you went and covered South Putnam, who actually lost to Speedway 54-39
yes.
to conclude their season. So what can you tell us about that game?
That was another one where it was literally, I won't say a completely different South Putnam team than what I've seen, but I saw a young team last night that played with much more confidence than I had seen them play with all year, and they were within the game. It wasn't, 54-39 looks bad, but they literally were within 8 after 3 quarters. There was kind of a questionable call at the end of the third quarter when Jenna Jones hit a 3 to cut it to 5. Shot was called off. Buzzer didn't sound, so of course, South Putnam fans thought it should have went. Speedway fans thought it should have been called off. So it was just one of those things where it's kind of a judgment call. But another cool thing was last night, the Eagles were led by senior Kelsey Searles in her last game. So it was kind of fitting to see her kind of lead them out. So
certainly.
Yep.
And then tomorrow night Greencastle drew a bye, so they will be making their debut for the postseason. They'll take on Edgewood at South Vermilion at 6 p.m. and we have one of the Lady Tiger Cubs who is on the could be on the verge of a pretty special landmark.
Yeah, senior Mallory Miller. She is within, I don't know how to say it, 25-ish. We're getting reports. It's 24-26 is what we've been told, away from her 1,000 career points. So she unfortunately missed 2 games leading into the sectional with the weather. They were canceled. So she really would have been either over or very, very close to it.
Oh, absolutely.
But she's the type of player who, honestly, if she catches fire, she could have 24, 25 points in the first half.
Yeah.
It's going to be what the team needs, and I could very well see her giving up the chance to get the 1,000 as long as that team gets the win.
She's absolutely the type of player who would also defer.
Yeah. So, and I think if it's between the 1,000 points or her team going on, she's going to definitely choose the team advancing. So, it will just have to wait and see. I'll be there for that game, so we'll see how that goes. But they're going to be taking on Edgewood, and they lost a squeaker to them, 42-37, back on December 4th. So it's going to be a very tight game, and hopefully a little bit more scoring. I'd like to see a little bit more points put up. But
well, and if it opens up, that helps her, obviously.
Absolutely. So, yep.
Okay, and then finally this week we also have the Junior Varsity Boys County Tournament on Saturday at North Putnam.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really have a lot of details about that, but you can read all about it. There will be a recap of the championship game in Monday's banner graphic.
Yep.
And that pretty much takes care of it for our local sports here in the county for the week. The only thing I'd like to point out is the Packers did indeed win the Super Bowl. So you're dealing with 2 happy boys right here.
Yes.
And I'd say that pretty much takes care of it.
Yep. Pretty much. Yep.
You can look us up again next week where we can give you a recap of all the action from this weekend and preview what's coming up. So I guess that's it for this week. I'm Jared Jernigan.
King Gardner.
Have a good week.